What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. So let's get into it. There is breaking news that just happened. So I wanted everybody to get a chance to be able to find out more about that before I started my show. I'm going to start out with something a little before that and then get to it. The Tufts student, I'm going to mess her name up, but I think it's Rumesha or Rumisha or Ozturk. She was released today, and she looked excited to get out of course. It was just, a judge finally said, hey, look, you guys got to let her go. Now, she's in the same situation, I believe, as the other gentleman who was at one of the colleges, I think in Columbia, where they're not out of the woods yet. They're just out of jail, so they can actually put their case on. This lady didn't do anything wrong, and it's crazy how these people were allowed to take her away from her freedom and not be charged for kidnapping, because there's no reason for them to actually have these people. They haven't broken any laws. They used their rights in this country. They have a right to protest. They have a right to free speech. It's not like you come here and you're in this country and you have to keep your mouth shut because you're in this country as on a green card or whatever it may be. You can do and say anything you want as long as it's not illegal. And First Amendment rights, you have to be able to, the freedom of speech. You can't, like destroy that. You can't just walk all over it. It's something that we have as Americans in this country. It's crazy how these people have forgotten we're Americans. This is not a third world country. We're Americans. We have a right. And this Trump regime is trying to tell people they don't have rights. Only they have rights, and whom they deem to have rights. And we all know that isn't right. So, Rumesha, she's out. But as she comes out with joy, they put in a brother by the name of he's the Newark mayor, Ras Baraka. Now, when I first heard this, and I just heard about they arrested him, just by the name itself, I was thinking they may have arrested this person because he was an immigrant or something. I had no idea at all what this was about. I had just heard they had arrested this person, and I figured they were just at a protest and they just snatched him. I was wrong, of course, because that was all I heard from it, was they had snatched him. I had to go look it up. But that was my first example, idea of what happened. As I started to look at the videos and listen to all of it and watch some clips, turns out he's the mayor. They have oversight. They had been to this, it's called Delaney Hall Detention Center, which could house up to 1,000 people. But at the current moment, it's not capable of housing anyone. Therefore, oversight was there to say, hey, look, you guys better not be housing anybody in this building because it is not up to par to be housed, because that's one of the main reasons it was closed down. Donald Trump wants to open it back up, but they want to know if they are putting people in positions that humans should not be in, because what Trump and his minions have been doing. So they have been coming back and forth to this place, protesting it, and ICE was kind of hot that they were there. Now, there hasn't been a full extension of all the video, but what the video shows as of now is that they were outside the building. They weren't trespassing. Now, prior to, we don't know, but you have to catch people in the act. You can't let them get off the property and they say, oh, you trespassed. It's like, no, you didn't catch me trespassing. You could say he was, but that doesn't mean I was. You got to have evidence for it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I have no clue about that. That will be exposed. But based on the idea of these are government officials who have the right to be on these properties to actually do oversight. Now, were they on official business? I would say yes. They was in front of a protest and they're all there. That's official business. did they get access to it? Now, here's the problem. The access to this location is that, from what I've been told, this facility, even though it has to operate within the state and has to have state like validations and licensing, it's privately owned. So if they really wanted to mess with this location, they could pull the license and make sure that this place could not operate. But they didn't say they were going to do anything like that. But the reality is it is privately owned. I don't know what that means legally, but they have released Ras Baraka. They have released him. I haven't seen, I heard he's going to be on one of these news stations. So, you know, if you can see him, go ahead and look at it. I have no problem with you leaving and coming back and maybe telling us what's going on, but I'm live for right now. I will go back and check it out. I'm recording a few different sources, so I'll see after this is over. I might get off a little early just so I can go find out more. But that's what I know about the situation thus far. The mayor of Newark was arrested, and then they released. Before that, I'll let you go on that aspect. Before we stop that topic, we're going to actually see what Alina Habba, who is now, I guess, the attorney, U.S. Attorney General, whatever, in New Jersey. Let's see what she had to say. This is what I'll tell it. This trick had to say, because I ain't going to give her a respect. Fuck her. U.S. Attorney Alina Habba, the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, which committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself from the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey this afternoon. Now, if he's already outside the building, she made it seem as though he ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself. Well, when we saw, he wasn't arrested on the property, he was outside the property. So you're saying he trespassed and he wouldn't leave. So you had no problem with the trespass. It's the fact that he wouldn't leave after you told him it was a trespass. But on camera, he's off property. It doesn't add up. And on top of that, this is one thing I don't like about her or Pam Bondi or any of these other minions of Donald Trump's. They're supposed to be the top dogs of law in their arenas, right? Whether it be state or federal, they're supposed to be the top dogs for law. And every lawyer knows you're innocent until proven guilty. And therefore, you also have to know that people are alleged before you go on to news and say somebody's guilty. I have never seen a lawyer, whether it be prosecutor or defense attorney, or anybody of the nature that's in law, judge. I've never seen them come on the news and literally proclaim somebody to be guilty before their day in court. They say, well, this person's being charged with such and such and such. But she's saying exactly what he did, but there's no evidence to prove that just yet. And therefore, she's saying definitely this has happened. But on their side, and the people who were there to witness it said that is not what happened. That's what a court is for. He has willingly chosen to disregard the law. Was she there? Because it sounds like she's automatically taking the officer of ICE's opinions as opposed to facts, because this came out really quick after it happened. There's no way she saw all what was given, all the information, meaning she would have to have gotten video or audio or some kind of evidence from the people who actually witnessed it, as well as the people who actually wrote up for the ICE, like what happened. She took just ICE's opinion of it and got on the news and backed them up 100%. They would flip out if any lawyer got on TV and said Donald Trump was automatically guilty and not alleged. When he was going through his case, they always said alleged. They didn't say Donald Trump is guilty, Donald Trump did this and did that. It says we have evidence that Donald Trump, or we will prove in court that Donald Trump did A, B, and C. this woman's automatically saying he broke the law. And he was told many times not to. Well, do we have this evidence? And if so, you need to take that to court. All you needed to say coming out was he is being held for suspicion of trespass and ignoring multiple warnings, whatever. The facts would come out, would bore themselves out. That's what the department has told me. We have yet to get the information from the mayor. And as soon as that information comes in, we'll give you a thorough interview or press conference on what we believe to have happened. Not make a judgment already. She made a judgment, a definitive one. And if evidence comes out to be against what she says, just like all Trumpers, they're not going to admit they were wrong. They're just going to jump on this, get liberals no matter what, break the law. As the head lawyer, you're breaking the law. And so doing, you're going to find out if you're wrong or right. If you are wrong in this situation and this thing goes to court, this should be thrown out. You already done poisoned the whole process by saying the man is guilty and you're the top lawyer. And it's going to be you that's going to be the person that's going to have the prosecutor and all that. And you've already said that it was a fact. She said that will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody. No one is above the law. She screams that. Yet though she's breaking the law, well, not her, but Donald Trump's breaking the law left and right. Donald Trump's minions are breaking the laws left and right. She's breaking standards, legal standards left and right. You're not supposed to say somebody as a top lawyer. I mean, I can stand if you're Donald Trump's lawyer, you can come out and get to the press and say whatever the hell you want. But when you representing the U.S., that means the American people. When you're representing the American people, or if you're just for the state of New Jersey, you're representing New Jersey, then you are representing all of them. You're not just representing Donald Trump. And so for all those citizens, you need to treat this man just like you would treat anybody else in that state. Instead, if this is how she's going to treat the leaders in that state, I feel sorry for the people who don't have any power in that state. You say something or do something against Trump and they automatically have told you that you're a criminal without a case or anything. Just doesn't make sense. Okay, that's exactly what she said. Now, it's crazy. Earlier today, Stephen Miller, another one of Donald Trump's minions, came out and he said something, and I'm gonna let you listen to it, and then we're gonna go a little bit in depth to kind of break it down as to, the laws, the real truth, as opposed to what this fool was trying to say. Right? So we're about to break what he said. Let's see if I get this right. Okay, what he said down.
Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're acting.
Okay, before we even get into to listen to him fully, because I hate it when these people speak and then you don't catch where the lies are. He's talking about, or even understand what he's talking about. He's talking about habeas corpus. And what we're talking about here, if you want to break it down, like what that particularly means, right? And also the classification for it. For one, if you say, like in the what the Constitution actually says is the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless, when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it, right? And that's just like basically your due process, that you should be able to get this due process aspect to be able to defend yourself or something. Not that they just automatically arrest you, and they're trying to bypass that. And that's where they're saying, no, you cannot do it. Now, this is one thing that as we go into this, we'll talk a little bit more about the definition of this word that they keep on bringing up. Like I told you, Donald Trump and his minions, they always, how can you say, they groom their followers. And what I mean by that, just like a sick person who likes children, they'll groom them. They literally keep telling them something like, oh, this is what this is. This is what this is. You like this. You like this. And over and over and over again, these fools fall for it. Next thing you know, they're in love with their captor. They're saying this shit over and over again, even though what they're saying is a total opposite of what it means. So you'll see what they've done is they've literally said, ever since like when Donald Trump was even president before, he kept calling it an invasion, invasion, invasion. And they continue to say that. And remember when they used to say it when he was first president, they got this invasion coming in droves, it's going to be millions and whatever. And when you saw the video, it was like 30 people coming across. It's coming, it's coming. It never came. For weeks on end, this invasion never happened, right? They kept on showing video of it. Where's it at? And then they stopped saying the invasion type of thing for a while. Then they'd bring it back up. It was all priming these people. They're grooming these racists, these hateful ass people. It kept grooming them into saying this. So much so that people who consider themselves not even Republican will end up capitulating to this ideology because they may have a Republican friend and like, yeah, there are millions coming. There have been millions coming across that border for decades upon decades. There were millions coming across when Donald Trump was president last time. So it's not a situation where the millions is not millions anymore. It's going to be a few 100,000 or whatever. It doesn't matter. The process is you can keep coming to this country if you want to have an asylum and things of that nature. There's a legal process. That's just the way it is. So, but they have gotten these people believing literally that these terms mean what they don't. Just like they revise what woke is, and I'm not going to let them take it. Woke is just being aware. We are very woke, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's something wrong with being asleep, and that's what they are. They're in a coma. So I'd rather be awoke than dead. So they're in that phase of this dead mentality. So let's continue on with this bobblehead fool.
Looking at, look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article 3 courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article 3 courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS?
We don't know this because it's not something that's real. Not that these things aren't passed, but they're not. It's like anything else in life. There are triggers that make these things a reality. It's not like it's always that way. It has to be an invasion. And they have bastardized the term invasion. And we will go exactly over what an invasion is and what an invasion isn't.
That's right. So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch. The courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well, too. So all of that will inform the choices the president ultimately makes, yeah.
Okay. So all of that was just BS. Simple BS. What he's talking about is not that it's not a valid like terminology or even a valid structure. It's just that structure doesn't kick in unless we're at war. We're not at war. These are desperate moves, whereas if we're at war, you got to make decisions like this. You ain't got time to have the bureaucracy of people saying, I don't know for sure. Or maybe we could. We don't have time for that. We're getting bombed by something. We got people coming over the border with guns and bullets and killing American citizens. That, my friends, is an invasion. What we're going through is a legal process where people come to the border. We didn't say, give me your tired, your yearning to be free, all that. We didn't say that, but only 35,000 a week. We did not say that. We opened it up to all. And just because you got these brown people coming in, you can't just X the brown people out, because you ain't heard them say shit about the white ones. They ain't said shit about white ones at all. They haven't grabbed any Irish people that are here, European people that are here, from other countries, from Switzerland, from Norway. They ain't said nothing about these people who are still in this country that are illegally here because their green cards are over, but they staying with people. They recently got married to somebody, things of that nature, where they want to get rid of that natural, that law where we're actually, if we're born here, we're automatically citizens. There are a lot of white people in this country who were not born here, and they're married their husband, and now they're a citizen. You don't hear them snatching them up, do you? Exactly. So we automatically know this whole process is racist. It has nothing to do with these Latin people committing any crimes whatsoever. It has everything to do with these Latin people being brown. That's all that matters. Because if it did matter, they would want all these people out of here. They're not collecting all people. After doing all those stats and shit, trying to find out when white people are going to become the minority in this country, 2050, and we're already at 2025. It's 25 years that they got to get out as many brown people and force their white women to have babies. You don't see the structure. They got rid of women's rights of their own bodies, so they force you to have children. And then on top of that, they're trying to force your children to have children early at that. And then having your 14-year-olds become, I guess, dads and start going to work overnight while they're in school. I have no idea. If I was white right now, I'd be pissed off that they're trying to get my daughter pregnant and my son become a father just so they can fulfill their quotas. I'd be pissed off at that shit. But that's what they're doing. State by state, and it's starting with a lot of the southern states that are trying to get this passed. Not just to ask you to do it, no. Passing laws that you have to do it. You have a baby, you got it in that state, you're pregnant, you got to do it. If you get out of the state, they can take you to jail for leaving and trying to get rid of the baby. And then paying you $5,000 per baby or some shit like that, just so that you can have children. You think they're going to be handing out $5,000 to black babies? Black parents with babies and Latin people with babies? It defeats the point. They're trying to get them out the country. They're trying to stop brown people from having babies and increase white people for having babies. They're trying to give you an incentive to outpace other races based on racism. I mean, we're not fools. We can see it, I hope. I mean, it's all adds up. It's not like I'm just pulling this out my you-know-what, right? So this bobblehead fool is trying to get people to think that, oh, the Constitution says that we can do this and therefore the courts can't. That man just told y'all that the Constitution, in which our courts, Supreme Courts, they determine just as much as the president. There are three branches here, right? So the Supreme Court has its say. Pertaining to this situation, 9-0 said bring these people back. Go through the legal system. 9-0, not 7-2, 6-4. It was 9-0. Bring them back. Follow the fucking law. He brings up the Supreme Court as if the Supreme Court's on his side. 9-0, they said no. Bring them back. So now they want to bypass lawyers, and not lawyers, but judges, and bring on this invasion aspect of it. You just can't claim invasion. Invasion really has to go through the House and the Senate. You just can't unilaterally say, oh, we're at war. With whom? Now, let's get into the exact terms, right? And what the Constitution says, and we're going to read it again. This is the suspension clause in Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution. It says, and I quote, the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it, unquote. Now, there's two things that must be true for habeas corpus to be lawfully suspended. You got that? Lawfully suspended. I'm asking Democrats, if they even attempt this, it's unlawful, and you must sue them for this. Now, I don't know if this is mostly like just a lawsuit in which it would be, you know, they get a pat on the back, or is there any kind of jail time for breaking this law? But it should be, because this is the Constitution. This is an enemy of state type of process. These people are inside our government, but they're enemies of our country, enemies of the state, because the things that they're doing is breaking the Constitution, which continues to be and only is the way this whole society stands. And if there is nothing in our system to root out these rats in our system, no way to prove that they are the enemy of the state while they're sitting here gaslighting everybody else who's following the law, they're literally trying to tell Americans that we're at war with something that we're not at war with. You can hate Latin people and black people and people of color all you fucking want. That's still not war. That's still not an invasion. There are two things that must be true for habeas corpus to be lawfully suspended. There must be either, one, a rebellion or an invasion, which they're trying to claim, and suspending habeas corpus must be necessary for public safety. See, they're trying to make it seem like these Latin people are unaliving us so much, but you have to prove that they're unaliving people at a rate more than any other culture in this damn in the United States. That is a lie. That is a lie. White people commit more crime. Black people, American citizens, commit more crime. Other cultures that are in this country commit more crime than immigrants who come to this country. Even from the Latin border, Mexico border. There is no stat saying brown people commit more crime than non-brown people. And especially immigrants or migrants. They're so thankful. 99.9% of these people will not create a crime. It's less than 1% of these people will ever create a crime. In fact, you can only bring up, when they talk, they can only bring up a handful of crimes over the last decade. If it was so rampant, you should have at least 100 within the last month. But you don't. They keep on bringing up stories, the same stories, of one girl, white girl, getting unalived by an immigrant and just blowing it out. She should not have been unalived, period. But because it was an immigrant, it was like the proximity of where this dude was at. They only got him for one crime that we know of. He should have been unaliving 7, 8, 10, 12 people the way they look at it. Like that's just he's the whole stat of all the unalivings. It's not. It's one dude. It was wrong, of course, but you can't apply that to everybody in his culture. If that's the case, look at all the mass crimes in this country. Are all white people mass murderers? No. Are the majority of them in this country that unalive 40 and 50 people at a time? What race is that? White men. Should we get them out the country now? No. So why are we doing it to these brown people when they aren't unaliving mass people? Exactly. Racism. Double standards. When you think about like this whole thing about this habeas corpus thing, there's only the clause in order to be able to do it, you got to do it through Congress. Congress is the only thing that can suspend habeas corpus. The president can't just unilaterally say, I want it, and it automatically is done. The president can request it, but then it has to go through Congress in order to be able to make it a reality. Now, I don't know, and I'm going to look that up, whether in Congress it has to be 2/3 of Congress or if it has to be a majority, meaning 50 plus 1% of the Congress. I'll look that up here in a minute. But the invasion, we're going to go through the exact term of what invasion is. Okay. Legally, invasion means the forcible entry of foreign military forces. Let's say that again. Legally, invasion, not what they're calling it, invasion means the forcible entry of foreign military forces. It does not qualify as an invasion. And people need to stop them in their tracks when they continue to say that. When they're in an interview and they call it invasion, they need to tell them every time, sir, ma'am, it's not an invasion. It's not an invasion. And they try, yeah, no, it's not. The legal definition of invasion, put it up for them. Every news station should have this terminology on a graphic whenever you're interviewing these people. And the source in which you got the information of the determination of what it is, and get it off of .gov so they can't deny that, oh, that's coming. Nope, that came off the government site. When you get that definition to prove to them, once they say, oh, well, it's an invasion. It's not an invasion, sir. This is why you can't classify this. This is why you can't talk about habeas corpus. This is why you can't just snatch people up, because America's not being invaded at all. Just because you want to call it that, that's not the legal term in which you can claim that anything's happening to America, other than immigrants coming to this country via our legal laws of immigration. If you have a problem with the way immigration is written, go to the House and Senate and come up with a bill to address said issues. You should not be able to skirt the law and break said laws to be able to get what you want to accomplish however the fuck you feel like it. If that's the case, when Democrats get back into office, I want them to arrest every last one of you and send you to Sing Sing, Alcatraz, every place. A cave in Africa. Just send them. Get them out of here. If that's the case, if that's what we can do, is that how we play in this game, let's get them all out. Once we get back in power, throw their asses in jail. You guys came up with this precedent. You came up with it. But here's the thing. We aren't like you. If we were, yeah, you'd be in a cave somewhere. But we set the standards. What we want America to be like. And if we acted like you, we're no better than you. So we're going to stand on our 10 toes down on democracy and the America that we want, not this racist fuckery y'all trying to do. Not these revising people's names just so that you can take it over. Who are you to take over these terms? And media, why don't you just stop listening to what the fuck they say and start saying these words and revising them just because they revised them? You revise them. No, don't fall for the okie doke. When they say woke, if you tell them there's nothing wrong with being woke, what you're talking about is being asleep. People being asleep like yourself. You think that being woke is a bad term. No, what you're talking about is being asleep, not wanting to know the truth because it hurts your feelings. What we're talking about is woke, knowing the truth, despite the fact that whether it hurts or feels good, we deal with reality. We don't create an alternate reality because we're too much of a you-know-what to be able to face reality. So we run and tuck our tails and hide, that being the the Republicans and the MAGA. They run and tuck tail when they can't face the truth and try and change terminologies. On this side of the town, we take it straight face to face, no matter what it is. If it's hard to deal with, we deal with it because that's the only way we're going to get through it. We're not going to sit here and cry and act like it didn't happen just so that we can get over something immediately. No, we get through the pain and come out victorious. We're not these wussies that go around crying and then revising reality so they can live in this alternate world where they're always right, even though they're just wrong, ridiculously wrong. You don't own the narrative. The only way you own it is we let you be able to own it. You're renting it, and we're taking it back. We're kicking you out. We don't want to deal with this fake reality crap. And therefore, we must fight for reality and fight for things that are real. These people have taken the term of invasion, and they keep saying it. Media, mainstream media, because they ain't going to come onto my show because I'll wax that ass. But if they came onto my show, you know what happens. But on your show, because you guys kind of like, capitulate to their little idiocy, you need to start, whenever they bring in these words, invasion, you need to literally call them on their shit. Say an invasion is a forcible entry of foreign military forces. What foreign military just came in on our border? They're running from something that they want to live and add to our country. They're not coming over here to attack us. They don't have any guns or military weapons to come over here. It's not a war. So what's your next argument? And once they keep on trying to go down that path, it's like, interview's over. Dude, you can't deal with reality. Interview's over. Go over to Fox. Listen, let them hear you, that crap you're saying. We don't need to hear it. The framers of the Constitution and early courts envisioned this as a literal military assault. This is the term in which our founders made for invasion, a literal military assault. Tanks coming over, at war, for you to forego habeas corpus. A hostile incursion with weapons or organized combatants doesn't compute for what immigrants are doing. Or in rare modern interpretations, a cyber attack or overwhelming force initiated by another state actor. Mexico has not put on a cyber attack, nor have they forced or initiated any kind of state attack on anything. They are our allies. We have the USMCA now, whatever he's going to try and do. He broke it, but we have deals and trying to work deals with them right now. They're not an enemy state. So it's not an enemy state. Therefore, there's no military trying to come over to be able to attack Americans. Therefore, you cannot implement anything about habeas corpus, anything about invasion. All of what Donald Trump is doing with these people going and Venezuelans and all that, talking about gangs and all that stuff, it has to deal with the precursor that he's calling them the invasion into this country, and that it is and the thing is that there's no Venezuelan government that's trying to attack us in any shape or form. So these terms are lies. Invasions, it's not happening. And without there being an invasion, you can't mess with habeas corpus, can't suspend it. Without there being an invasion, you can't deport these people out of the country based on your thoughts and tattoos. It's illegal. Each one of these men and women who have been held have a case in which I hope they win millions upon millions of dollars, because you guys have screwed the pooch big time. And I'm thankful that our court system is the glue that's keeping our democracy together as we speak. I am thankful to the Supreme Court for saying no. I am thankful to these other judges for saying no, release these people, bring them back, or let them go home and fight these cases. I am thankful for our Supreme Court and federal judges doing their fucking job. They are the hope for democracy to stand strong. I just pray it continues and they don't start capitulating. What Donald Trump is doing, the judges and courts should be holding him responsible, because he's threatening judges that he's going to put them in jail if they do things that he doesn't like tell him he can't do something. The woman who's in jail right now, who was a judge and fighting for her freedom based upon some idiocy that Donald Trump. If you have not seen, they arrested one judge, they arrested another judge. They just arrested the mayor of Newark, and they've arrested innocent people, and many of them have sent them overseas and trying to send them to other countries, Libya, in which that got stopped last second because of the judges. Again, I reiterate, I thank the judges for doing their jobs. 100%. So my question, and I'm not a lawyer, that I want to know from lawyers is, what can Americans do when our government is no longer abiding by the Constitution? There's got to be something in the clause of the Constitution that has a strike or something against somebody. And I know there's impeachment. You know, we got Republicans, they're too much of a sycophant to be able to do that. But we have to have some safeguard. I don't know if it's there or not, but it seems like it would be for a rogue president. I can't see or fathom that America is supposed to be this great democracy, the envy of all democracies that we've either helped create or were around before our time. I'm guessing, I don't know if it was particularly just our thing only, but there has to be something to be able to thwart people who are trying to turn a democracy into a dictatorship, authoritarianism. There has to be something to stop it. The courts, House and Senate, I get it. But there has to be an escape clause, because this right here makes no sense. You got a president that has forced himself into a position of being lawless. Every time you turn around, for every one thing he may get right, 1,000 he's gotten wrong. On purpose. There has to be something for a president that has gone rogue. I don't know, but I will be looking into it. And if anybody knows any lawyers or anybody knows about the Constitution, please send them my way, because I would love to ask the questions, interview these lawyers, and say, hey, there's got to be something that American citizens can do. I know we vote, but man, if anything we need to do when we revise the next time something goes down, when Donald Trump is gone and hopefully a Democrat's put in office, and hopefully we win the House and Senate by far, that we can start implementing stopgaps so that if any president, whether it be Republican, Democrat, or independent, becomes rogue in a sense of breaking the government laws, 3 strikes and they get kicked out or something. I mean, we got to do something. We can't just be stuck with a rogue president for 4 years. We have got to have a point where you got to pull the plug on somebody, not because of particular like bills that they want to have passed and they want to run the country a certain way. No, but when they start breaking the Constitution and they start saying that they may not be held to the Constitution anymore, those statements alone should trigger something within our government to say, you have to recant that. And if not, then there has to be some process, some strike that goes against you, because you're sounding un-American. You're sounding like you're trying to destroy democracy. And if you so have a hint of that, Republican, Democrat, or independent, there should be strikes to get your ass out of office, because democracy is more important than one president. So I would say if something like this would happen, if we had a clause that's not there now, we need to put in next time, is that when we get to a certain point where people break constitutional laws, and I'm not talking about going to war and making decisions where you have to do things that not every American is going to like. We get that. I'm talking about the Constitution, where you're picking up regular ass citizens and throwing them in cages. That should not be something that, especially when you can't justify that we're in a crisis. We're not in an invasion. That has to be justified first. So everything he's done has been unlawful, illegal, because it hasn't been justified by the forces that justify that. It is Congress that determines whether you can get rid of habeas corpus. He can suggest it, but he just can't write it in and tell somebody just go do it. He can't and the thing that gets me also, tell me if I'm wrong, government people, because this is in fact, it's just my question. These government workers should not be exempt. Just like a military, when you know something's illegal, you don't have to take that order. These law enforcement officers going around snatching people, all of them should be able to be sued for their actions because they know what they're doing is illegal and they're still doing it. They know we don't have an invasion and they're still doing it. So those men and women who have been arrested, and hopefully we get them coming back to the country and going through the due process, you should still be able to sue not only our government, Donald Trump personally should be able to get sued. If he can collect cash and let people come see him, and he's doing this like he's a business, then he should be able to get sued like a business, not the government. They should sue his ass. And then on top of that, sue the whole process. I have no problem with it. Get your paper because you know what? It was illegal. It was wrong to do, and it's their fault. Those men and women, they're not exempt. No matter what Donald Trump tries to do, they're not exempt. They should all go to jail if they broke the law, in which there is no invasion. They chose to break the law. Everything they did to these people, bending them over, having them walk like they're a freaking primate, trapped up, hogtied, and shaven bald. Yeah. Humiliated on live TV while they had some little police television show going on with all the lights and helicopters. A whole ass production with Dr. Phil and Kristi Noem as the anchors and shit, the host of the show. All that humiliation, all of them should be sued for taking part in that illegal act. All of them. Nobody should be exempt. And if this situation, I don't know what the statute of limitations is or are, but if it can't happen now, when a Democrat gets in office, hopefully it's less than 5 years, sue their asses then. We need to make an example of these people that this is not the way to go. And if you go this direction, there is a high price to pay so that no Democrat, Independent, Republican even attempts this shit again. We should hold them in a display. I don't have a problem treating them like they treated the slaves back in the day. All of us go to a picnic and get rid of all of them because the shit they're doing is highly illegal in this country. And they're doing it again. They're literally doing what the slave owners used to do. Grab people and put them wherever the fuck they want to put them. They should get a taste of their own fucking medicine. No slap on the wrist. They all should be in a situation where they should be made an example of. Thrown in prison, locked away. Treason ends up with the death penalty. Trying to destroy democracy from the inside out. Pretending to be a patriot when you're actually the enemy of the state should deserve treason. I know it has to have a war to be able to have treason. I know the legal reason, but these fools change terms. We should change it too on them if that's the case. These people need to be made an example of because no human being in America, whether you get in power, should ever go this direction. And if you do, there should be a high price to pay. That's just my point of view on it. America can do what it wants, but that's what I think. Because this, to me, is just wrong. These Latin people, what about their parents looking at their babies being treated like that? They dehumanize these people without going to court. You don't know if any of them have ever committed a crime in their life. You know how many people got tattoos in this country? Every time I flip on my TikTok or YouTube, I see a bunch of people, and a lot of women and men of all races, color, and creeds, tatted up. That makes them a criminal? No, it makes them a person or persons who love tattoos. Sleeved up. The racist lady, Shiloh or whatever her name was, that called the young black child the N word. She got a whole sleeve. How you know she's not in the gang? She may not even be American. Why don't we just kick her out? No, we're gonna give her close to $1 million. It's crazy. Just crazy. Yeah, Kristen arrested a mayor and came out and said that this man, Alina Baba, that this man has been arrested like for a good reason. Like he broke the rules. She doesn't know what he did. Because so far we haven't seen any evidence one way or the other. And a US attorney does not come out and give out information. You may have a prosecutor say something, but the US attorney trying to get in front of it and shift the story a direction that it should not shift. You're innocent until proven guilty. She got out there to say this man is guilty of a crime that she didn't even have all the evidence to. She came out way before anybody even knew the evidence of what happened. And she came out very quick. So my point is this. You don't have the full story, man, but you're already out and about telling whatever your ICE agent said to be true. That's biased to me, because you need to hear both sides of that story and then determine who's right and who's wrong. It could be your ICE agents just totally was wrong. Then what's going to happen if it turns out that they were all in the wrong? Is she going to apologize? No. That's Trumpers for you. They're in love with lies, conspiracies, and BS. The truth, they're allergic to. What's up, everybody? Say what's up. Kristen, I see you. Thank you for being a member. Monica, I see you too. Yeah, exactly what happened with Hitler. See you too as well. Thank you for being a member. Rude Interplanet Janet, thank you for being a member. Hope to see you tonight in the show. Love your music. Music selections. DJ, what's up? Adara said, we're in so much trouble. Yeah, we are. We are. And the thing is that it's good that so many of us know. So many of us know that we're in trouble and we're doing something about it. We're speaking up about it, being a voice in the dark, being able to say, hey, look, this is wrong. It should never happen. But instead it's happening. But those voices cut through often. Maybe not mine as much because I cuss and people don't like it. That is what it is. But I see my other mutuals doing it who I love and adore and respect. And they're doing it and they're cutting through. They're growing like 100,000 and 200,000, 400,000. I'm happy for them because their message is cutting through. Enough people are seeing it and they're learning. The only thing I don't like, not about my mutuals, is that there really aren't anybody cutting through with solutions. It's usually just cutting through with just telling you and informing you the news. And I just hope that we can cut through with actual education and learning about these things. Because as long as I've been around news and was in the news industry for so long, one of the things I realized is that many viewers kind of skate by the things they don't necessarily know and just pull pieces from what they do know. And for instance, most people may not know, the definition of invasion, and what it literally means legally. They may know the definition of an invasion, that you can say, oh, I'm being invaded by, grasshoppers or bees, and you have that vision of it, but the legal term you may not know. So we go into depth and things of that nature. So that's what I hope that we can cut through to be able to give people that education about it. And, just to give you some insight on how I'm trying to grow my followership, memberships, and things of that nature, so that we can include more people. And I understand a lot of you came here because I say the F you, I do it quite well. The eyebrow raises and all that. And I know Woke Mike loves it. So I'm trying to incorporate more people into this process. So I'm going to segment what I do only to have people who are welcomed in this to this community, because it's more than just about my feelings and how I want to say it. Oftentimes, we have to think about the entire community and how we can reach them and teach them. There's so much information that I receive that I think hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people should have access to, and certain things may turn them off from learning and being able to grow. The programs in which I'm designing, that I'm letting my members know about, the things that we're doing, that I'm moving toward, is inclusive and doesn't have any animosity, anger, or any cuss words of that matter. Even being funny, it has more of a let's build a community of people who care about people, and we're gonna have to incorporate those people. Don't get it twisted. I'm gonna still be myself, but what I'm incorporating, what I will be starting to revise my brand a little bit. I'm still the same person, but I'm gonna start being more informative and get a format that works for all people. But membership wise, you'll get the raw me as a member in my one of my member tiers, in which I'll do lives and in person and talk to you guys personally, and you'll get that raw Mr. Straight Facts. But I have to kind of like soften it up a little bit to bring in more people so that they get these facts. It's more than about me and how I get my I don't know, my stress out or the facts out. I need to incorporate people. If you get to know me, you know I'm a person of love and respect. And usually you get that part of me when you disrespect me. And when I'm coming on, I'm talking about disrespectful stuff. I don't take news as just lightly. I really think that every human being should be held accountable for the things they say. And if you are an adamant liar, I am here to rip into you hard. That's just how it is. And I'm going to do that. But I'm going to try and soften things up to bring people into the fold so that we can have a group of us that really are trying to change things. We talk about, in my room at least, we often talk about solutions after we talk about the problems, which I love that. I'm going to continue that. But I want to be able to have some real solutions and create a segment for us to even talk about just solutions alone. So look forward to me revising this format and even renaming some of the memberships for not like that it's soft or anything like that. Softer, it's more inclusive of all of us. Like for instance, I just want to be able to have. We got the Truth Bombers, of course, and the different members all the way up to the FYF. And I want to be able to incorporate all of us into a group where we're focused together. We're one unit instead of being separated all over the place. So even the person who's paying the $3.99 as opposed to the person who's all the way at the top of $40 or $9.99, no matter what, we're all a part of that fact family. So I'm thinking about calling that the Fact Pact, and because I love the Rat Pack, but anyway, the Fact Pact, and I think that's what's going to be revised so that we can be inclusive. All of us, even the highest member, is still a part of the Fact Pact, and so I'm trying to build this into a community that cares about one another and actually create solutions. Look out for. I always talk about step into your gifts, your passions, to find your purpose. If you see me on TikTok, often I say that on Chocolate Music Lab, which comes on after this show, probably around 7:30 Pacific Standard Time tonight. And I talk often about us, finding that passion and purpose. My thing has always been, since I was a kid, has been finding solutions to people's problems. I always get happy to be able to help people find a way to get over a hurdle that may be causing them pain or anguish or stress or strife. I've been that way since I was a kid. As a child, I used to help my uncles and aunts and family members, grown even. I would help them with solutions that they couldn't see. That's a gift of mine. I've never been able to figure out how I can do that for other people, because it's usually whenever they come to me, I have the answer. So I'm gonna start offering that service to everybody who's a member of different tiers. So you'll start seeing that to come forward, and I'll start talking about that as we get more tightened up as a community. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward for us getting together and discussing things. Even, some of us, if whatever you want to do, getting together, members, and talking like in person on whatever system it is, Zoom or whatever it is that YouTube interacts with best, to be able to have you on screen and talk live. And one of the things I love is being able to. I'm gonna put out in the coming weeks an email for solutions for my followers, subscribers, um, to be able, mostly my members rather, to be able to ask me questions and send it to the ask for solutions or things you may have, and you'll send it to an email that I have, and I'll just pick one. It depends on how many I get. One a day, one a week. If I only get one ever so often, whenever I get it, uh, then I'll do my homework, my research, and try and provide you with a solution or multiple solutions the way my brain works, and then bring you up, and we just have a conversation. Just have this like moment that I'll provide you solutions. You roll with it or not, and then we'll follow back up and see weeks and days later, months later, however it is, if it's working or not. And then you can have that testimony and be able to tell people whether it worked or not. To keep it honest. You're like, hey man, that shit didn't work out. And I'm like, hey, I tried. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be great for people to see a community that cares about one another and provides solutions for one another. So I'm gonna start doing that coming up soon as I devise it more. But I'm gonna roll with the Fact Pack. I love the Fact Pack. That's dope. I like that. I don't know whether you like it or not, but I think the group is gonna be called that. So let me see. I'm gonna talk to some of you. Thank you, Troy, for being here. I appreciate you for being a member. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Most definitely. Thank you, Kristen. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. This is how I scroll down. Stand for something positive. You're the same way. Nice, nice. Kristen says the Fact Pact, yeah, is good for me. Yeah, most definitely. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll start devising all this stuff together so that we have this community. I mean, it's all about growing together. That's the same what I did with my TikTok family. It's like when I first started, I was just doing history, things of that nature, and then after that, I kind of branched off into other things. And you kind of like find yourself. And also for people who want to get into social media, I might have a segment to help people. I've had a few people ask me, how do you start a podcast? What kind of equipment you need? So, I just want to help people reach their full potential. And I also want to fight back on things that are that we need as a people, collectively, no matter where we live. All of us kind of like want the same things, and we deserve the same things. We all pay taxes, we work, we have family, we're productive, and we need to stop allowing politicians, sexist, racist, xenophobic, people who just hate, the haters. We need to stop allowing them to divide us. We're not going to get everybody on our team. I get it. But I truly believe people want to go to a place that I often say with my TikTok family is that when we get into a room with people who care about people, it's a certain type of magic. And you start to realize if only the world could be like the family we have on my channels. If only the world could be like that. And the reality is we are a part of that world. And as we bring more people in, we're developing that world. We're developing the America that we want to see. Like we, the people, like for real, for real. And I think we can do that, and that's what's going to start. This is going to start developing into. I'm gonna be honest with you. I get tired of being pissed off all the time, and it's just what this man does to me. If it was a Democrat in office right now, this show would not be going because I wouldn't be going off on like worried about my people and my people. I'm not talking about specifically black people. I'm talking about Americans, even though I do worry about my black people in this environment. But I'm worried about Americans and the way we love democracy and how the hateful ones are somehow the more powerful ones. And even though they're not the wealthiest ones, it's their hate that rings louder and more powerful than our love. Where is the love at? Where are the people? We're always fighting. I get it. And I'm one of those fighters. Don't get me wrong. But I get sick and tired of fighting. I wish we could just love on one another. Just be positive and have some greatness and watch everybody just grow into everything they're created to be. I just wish it could be. But I keep telling people there for when you see me and I keep it real 100%. I am a kind, loving person, but I'm also an asshole. And that asshole is because when people lie to me, when people lie to people I love, when people just make up bullshit, I can't even stand the sight of somebody. Like looking at Stephen Miller, I mean, I can't even stand to look at him because I know damn well what's going to come out of his mouth is a lie. It's going to be disrespectful. And it doesn't have to even be disrespectful to me. It's just going to be disrespectful, period. I don't see how those people wake up every morning and seek that, enjoy that. That's the energy that they bring on a day-to-day basis. They're fueled by this hate and this anger and this weakness inside of them. And I want to destroy that. So verbally, I will destroy them. But it's not where I want to live. It's only where I want to visit to be able to defeat it and move forward with it. You feel me? So you'll see that. You'll see me come out a little bit more as to who I am fully, as opposed to the dude who's always pissed off. I love to educate. I love to learn. I love change. I love inventing things. I love being creative. And I love listening to people and being able to provide solutions. It brings a joy to my life, and those things I need to focus on more than these nitwits. But trust me, I'm always going to be protective and always going to be going at their necks because I can't stand them. I can't stand them. If they're going to be forever fighting against goodness, I'm going to be that fighter for greatness. So anyway, that's how I do what I do. So I appreciate every last one of y'all. Y'all know that ain't nothing but love in my heart. If you love old school music, you can go to my YouTube, Mr. Straight Facts 23. Not YouTube, TikTok, Mr. Straight Facts 23. You can listen to old school music. What we do over there is you give me 2 requests. I play my list, I play your list, and then I close it out. So we have a little fun going back in the past. We travel back in the past with old school music. If you're not an old school person, fine. I get it. It's not for you. But the genres don't matter. We go from everything to, I like pretty much every genre, so that's a great thing for me. I like bluegrass, country, R&B, rock, different versions of rock. I'm not so much into the new rap, but hey, it is what it is. But I love music. So if you love something, bring it to us, share it with the family, and we grow with that. But otherwise, if you just want to stay in this fact world over here with YouTube, please continue to support your brother. I always forget, you know how to support me. If you want to support me, you can email me too at info at straightfactsnochaser.com. A few people have used that to reach out to me, and I've done my best to be able to help. But we're going to start having some fun with this. I'm going to start developing it more. And I have a few things that are going on, different segments and so forth. I love this communion more so than anything. And I can't wait, truthfully, to talk to y'all one-on-one. I love that. I really do. But I really get a chance to do it. And in this platform, I haven't grown enough to be able to get that part of it completely put together. But stick with me. Trust me, I'm busting my butt to try and make it happen. But you guys, y'all have a wonderful weekend. Oh, if you like old school music on Sundays too at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on my TikTok, Straight Facts, Mr. Straight Facts 23. We do old school music, but you don't have any requests. We play a little jazz, blues, smooth R&B, kind of mess with different genres of music. And then we watch an old school movie or TV show from back in the day. Again, I'm 54, so we've watched anything from Little House on the Prairie, back to, movies from 1920, with a bunch of actors and even some up to 2000s. Jim Carrey with Robin Williams, a bunch of different people in the 60s. We just have a great time. So you can come and check us out on YouTube on that live, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, if you like old school movies and TV shows. All right, I'm about to let y'all go. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll see you when I see you.